Hello there, is gold going higher or is gold going higher but after a bit of a dip down to the 200-day moving average? Welcome to myfinanceteacher.org. Today we're going to have a look at the outlook for gold price as well as one interesting junior developer. As I mentioned in my recent video on the outlook for gold price, I still do expect a couple of scenarios for gold price. A 60% chance scenario where gold price first dips down into the intermediate cycle low, perhaps closer to the 200-day moving average, perhaps somewhere around 2500 on the gold price, before rallying into a new intermediate cycle. That is that purple scenario on the chart on the right side of your screen. I would give this scenario 60% chance. That would follow that head and shoulders formation that has been forming on this gold price all the way since September. And yes, there is a 40% chance that gold has already given us the intermediate cycle low all the way back in the middle of November. In that case, gold price will just continue rallying here into this advancing phase of this new intermediate cycle. But again, this is only a 40% chance scenario, as in that case, that previous intermediate cycle between late June and mid-November would only last for 141 days. It's quite possible, but usually those cycles, intermediate cycles in gold, last for around a half a year. So if that intermediate cycle is still ongoing, we are 181 days into the cycle, and if we do see intermediate cycle low perhaps over the next couple of weeks, we would still see an intermediate cycle overall lasting for pretty close to that average duration. Next, looking at RSI, yes, back in middle of November, RSI dropped all the way down to 34. That's low enough for an intermediate cycle low. But perhaps over the next couple of weeks, if we do see a short blip dip down in gold price without too much painful, long-lasting correction, maybe we might see something of a positive divergence on RSI. And a positive divergence on RSI, as you see on the chart, is a lower low in price accompanied by a higher low in RSI. Often such a positive divergence is followed by a rally in the price of the asset that you are looking at. In this case, of course, is gold. By the way, for more details on gold, as well as a range of other assets, make sure to join us at myfinanceteacher.org. Next, let's move on to market sentiment. Again, back in the middle of November, market sentiment, the gold optics, the optimism index on gold, did drop all the way down to 64. That's right here on the right side of your chart. Usually though, these intermediate cycle lows in gold are accompanied with this gold optics dropping significantly below the level of 60 and often below the level of 50. So again, as I've just mentioned, while there is a chance gold just pushes higher from here, there is probably slightly more than 50% chance of yet another dip with this optics dropping below the level of 60, and it doesn't have to dip far below the level of 60 as we are generally in the longer term uptrend in precious metals. But if the optics drops below the level of 60, as a contrarian investor you might perhaps view this as a safer entry, as you would generally want to back up the truck when most of the market is pessimistic. Hence you want this optics, the market optimism index, be somewhat lower from where it is right now. So if you've seen the previous video on the outlook for gold price, my view hasn't really changed that much. So in addition to that outlook, let me also treat you with a bit of an update on the company that I still like, and that is Dolly Varden. The first time we looked at Dolly Varden together with the viewers from YouTube was all the way on the 6th of May, and in the 5 months into the intermediate cycle top in gold and silver, Dolly Varden has rallied to $1.06. That's a 58% rally in about 5 months. Would have been nice and delicious if you did reduce your positions, given some sort of an expectation of an intermediate cycle top in precious metals. Since then, since late October, as gold and silver prices have declined down into their intermediate cycle declines, the Dolly Varden share price has dropped as well, and the share price right now is around 64 cents, giving you another buying opportunity as we are probably not extremely far from that intermediate cycle low in precious metals. As for an update about the company itself, in early November there was a really great news from Dolly Varden of yet another high-grade discovery. And in addition to that, in a recent interview, the CEO of Dolly Varden, Sean Cancun, mentioned that he is confident that this recent discovery might be a bulk underground mineable resource, which would reduce the mining costs in the future, reducing all-in sustaining costs. That, of course, positively affects the valuation of Dolly Varden. For much more detail on the valuation, other charts and tables regarding Dolly Varden, as well as a range of other very promising junior developers, make sure to join us at myfinancesteacher.org, and in particular check out that juniors in metals category. Beyond that, of course, we have the best uranium report on the internet. The most recent December report was recently published on our website at myfinancesteacher.org. And most recently, we published a fascinating discussion of a promising opportunity in real estate. Continuing about Dolly Varden, they are a developer, of course, not a producer, so they're only burning cash. And as to the amount of cash, they have $30 million right now in their treasury. That's around US $30 million. And it's important to compare that with how much cash they use, how much cash they burn, the burn rate during around a year, which is about $20 million. Meaning that Dolly Varden has enough cash for a year and a half or so. And notice that they don't have debts. All of those, of course, are very attractive signs about Dolly Varden. And talking about the signs, perhaps one of the most attractive signs is the support they get from the industry leaders. Look at Eric Sprott himself, owning 10% of the company. In addition, the Sprott ETF owns a large chunk of Dolly Varden as well. Look, there is Hecla Mining as well, owning 12% of Dolly Varden. So yes, while we try to dig deep into some details of those junior developers, do we actually know more than industry leaders like Hecla? Well, definitely not. Hence their support here is a great reassurance. Again, for much more details on some of the other most promising junior developers in precious metals, make sure to join us at myfinancesteacher.org. Have a terrific Tuesday. Bye bye.